How you guys doing? My name is Andrew Ritchie. I am giving the presentation for Ireland, Economy and Society. I know what you're thinking. Another one of these. Good Lord Almighty. It's alright. We're going to get through it together. We're going to learn a lot. Now, basically what this presentation is going to do, it's going to break down society through the class system, demographics, and different things like that. And then we're going to talk about economy, which is a big one in this subject. And an economy is going to be broken down through history starting in 1920 on. It's going to talk about different eras, the troubles, whether through population, whether through unemployment, all that stuff which is affected by the economy, and then the actual statistics. We're also going to talk about a time period entitled the Celtic Tiger, which I like that, and that's going to be interesting for you to hear. Along with that, you're also going to hear about what you probably already heard about and lived through, the 2008 world financial crisis, global financial crisis. This song you're listening to, just so you know, is an Irish lullaby. It's called a sleep song. It's beautiful. Turned it down a little bit so you can't hear a lot of it, but it is a beautiful song, and I thought you'd enjoy that in my introduction here today. So let's move on. Hit the PowerPoint, see what we got going on there. Might have some surprises in store with you, for you along the way. So, like I said, my name's Andrew. Thanks for having me. Irish economy and society. Let's break it down, people. Let's understand this. Let's get A's. Okay, boom. Society in Ireland. Gonna do that first. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit easier. Now, when we're talking about society, we're talking about a bunch of different things. But first, we're doing an overview, give some statistics, talk about the population, let you understand what's going on. The population of the Republic of Ireland is actually only 4,775,982. To help you understand just the difference that size is to other countries, the United Kingdom is currently the 22nd largest population in the world and has a population of 63 million people, give or take. And the United States is currently third with a population of 316 million people, and that's crazy. Now, the Republic of Ireland has always had an issue with population. It started small, and it got even smaller with the famines. And then it struggled with the economy for a long time, which caused it to have even less people living in the country. A lot of people emigrating away from it, but we'll get to that later. I don't want to throw too much at you. But believe it or not, this is actually a relatively high number for Republic of Ireland. Here we are. Let's talk about population growth. Emigration, which is the departure of Ireland to other countries in this scenario, was popular until around the 1990s. Before this, the population remained low, with limited growth, and much of its population was living in the United States. Only in the mid-20th century did the Republic's population start to grow. And this is as a direct result of the economic boom that gave the Irish economy the name the Celtic Tiger, which we will definitely talk about later. And because of the Celtic Tiger, immigration began to far outweigh emigration, and many former Irish immigrants returned home. Excuse my stumble. Ireland, after this, then became an attractive destination for immigrants from a number of nations, mainly from Central Europe, but also from Africa, Asia, elsewhere, including the United States. This growth continued until the economic downturn of 2008. All of this we're going to talk about throughout this whole presentation. I'm just giving a quick overview for everyone. Break down some of the demographics. Our language here is English. It's official language, most commonly used, but we also have Gaelic, which is spoken mainly in the West Coast, but it is experiencing a revival. A lot of people think this is because of the downturn in the economy. People want that tradition, they want the traditional values, they want that back. And so a lot of language is being revived, a lot of beliefs, which is very cool to see. Now also, for religion, we're talking 87.4 are Roman Catholic. We broke down the other statistics, very, very small statistics for other religions that eventually add up to the other 13% or so. So, moving on. More on the demographics. In 2008, Ireland had the highest birth rate, 18.1 per 1,000, lowest death rate, 6.1 per 1,000, and highest net migration rate, 14.1 per 1,000. I think that gives a good look where Ireland was at before this huge crisis that we had in 2008. This is right at the brink of that. We had this huge boom for so long called the Celtic Tiger. We will talk about that, I promise. And then it goes downhill from there. But yeah, so all of this compared to the other countries in the European Union. Let's talk about society and class system. This is a big one. A lot of cultures have a class system. Some have it without even knowing they have it. But within Ireland, there is a complicated class system. Social class is classified relative to the occupation of the head of the household. Is that a lot of what we talk about in society is going to be on the class system. We talk about the demographics. We talk about a lot of little stuff like that. But we're going to talk about this class system here because this is big. This is big all around the world, and it's been big for centuries. So it's interesting to see how this class system works. Now, a lot of countries, even when they don't have a specific designated class system, have one anyway, without even knowing, almost subconsciously. Human nature, I don't know. But let's take a look at Ireland's social class system. 51% of the adult population in Ireland is referred to as working class. 39% of the population, approximately, is middle class, and a separate social grade in Ireland, actually, is referred to farmers, is referring to dependents, their dependents, all that is about 10% of the population. Alright, it's important to talk about middle class here. Upper middle class is talking about the professional people, very, very high up senior managers in business or commerce or top level civil servants, all that. We're talking Bono over here. Actually, Bono is in its own category. If you don't know who Bono is, look him up. Middle class, so we have middle management, executives in large organizations, appropriate qualifications, all that education. We have educators, we have principal officers in local government, civil services, top management, or owners of small businesses, successful small businesses. And then we have our lower middle class, which is junior management, owners of small establishments, and all other non-manual positions. Now, once again, this makes up 39% of Ireland's population. Skilled workers, semi-unskilled workers, and dependent groups. These three groups make up the working class. Now, the working class is 51% of our population here in Ireland, because I like to pretend that I'm actually there during this assignment. And I'll basically break them down. They're what they sound like. The skilled worker is a skilled manual worker, usually responsible for other people, and that is 23% of the working class. Moving down, we have our semi/unskilled workers, and once again, exactly what it sounds like. Unskilled workers, unprofessionally trained. Semi-skilled means they have some practice with it, but they're not really professionals in what they're doing. This also includes apprentices, trainees, students doing internships, anything like that. Those are these people, semi/unskilled workers. And then under that, we have dependent groups. These are all those entirely dependent on the state for long term. This means sickness, unemployment, old age, other reasons, even those unemployed for a period of exceeding 6 months, or casual workers, and those without a regular income. All this is a dependent group. I hope you understand the working class a little bit more. By the way, farmers make up 10% of the populations, and this is the final level of the social grade. Beautiful picture. Wealth distribution in Ireland. A recent study by Merrill Lynch in 2010 highlights the extent of inequality in wealth distribution in Ireland. It highlighted that the top 1% of the Irish population holds 20% of the wealth, and the top 2 controls 30% of the wealth. That's an insane amount of money. The EU. This is a big one, everyone. This is the European Union. We're going to talk about the relationships here. We're going to talk about some of the decisions Ireland's made with the EU and some general history. Let's get it started. The Republic of Ireland and the EU. On May 10th, 1973, the Irish people voted to join the European communities of the European Union with 81.3% voting in favor, which is crazy. The Republic of Ireland currently holds the position of presidency of the Council for the 6th time since joining the EU. Now, just so you know, this rotates every 6 months or so. And this is just what's going on right now. So currently, Ireland holds the position. In June 2011, the Eurobarometer reported that Ireland had the third most pro-EU population, with 63% of those questioned considering Irish membership of the EU to be a good thing. The EU relations, a history. Ireland has a mixed relationship with the EU, voting up and down on different things, different treaties. In fact, it's been found that a lot of the time the Irish, or the Republic of Ireland, have been a little cautious towards treaties. And let's give some examples of that. The Irish electorate voted against the Nice Treaty in 2001, which was later accepted following a further vote in 2002, but still gave it the no originally. More recently, Ireland rejected the Lisbon Treaty at a referendum in June 2008. This is right at the brink of financial crisis, which we will talk about later. To be implemented, the treaty needed to be ratified by all the members of the state, so this kind of shook the whole EU. So Ireland's rejection of this treaty caused a lot of confusion and controversy. Intensive negotiations followed, as it says here on the page, and Ireland eventually secured what it wanted for this treaty to be passed, and that's just some protocols, some conditions, mostly about safeguarding its neutrality in defense issues. Very defense focused here in Ireland, meaning they focus on the fact that they want to be neutral in all circumstances, no choosing of sides. So that's pretty big for them, and it's and having the right to decide on abortion laws was also big, as being mainly, I believe it was 83%, as we said earlier, or 87%, as we said earlier, Roman Catholic. But just so you know, a second referendum was held in October 2009 when the Irish people voted yes to the Lisbon Treaty. The Nice Treaty. We're just going to talk about what these treaties were, just to help you understand a little bit more what they were voting for, or against, mostly against. The treaty gave more authority for democracy and democratically elected elements of the EU structure. So the European Parliament, the European Council, this is when they really got some more power, a little bit more authority. It extended qualified majority voting in the European Council and removed national vetoes from 39 areas. It also gave the power to elect the Commission President to the European Parliament and give him the power to sack individual commissioners, as in fire. That was a very bad impersonation of Donald Trump, and I apologize. Anyway, moving on. It's important for you to also know that the Nice Treaty allowed for 10 new countries to join the European Union. Alright, the Lisbon Treaty. The Lisbon Treaty confirmed the power of the EU to act in areas such as human rights, judicial, and foreign policy, and re-emphasized the area that every citizen of a member state is also an EU citizen. This basically gives some power to the people here that belong to countries who belong to the European Union, and dealt with a lot of domestic views towards human rights, judicial, foreign policy, all that stuff.